Jai Nityalila Pravishto Vishnupad Paramahansa Ashtatara Sata Sri Srila Bhakti-vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Nityalila Pravishto Vishnupad Paramahansa Ashtatara Sata Sri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Nityalila Pravishto Vishnupad Paramahansa Ashtatara Sata Sri Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Nityalila Pravishto Vishnupad Paramahansa Ashtatara Sata Sri Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Jagat Guru Dev Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Maha Bhagavat Srila Gaurkishore Das Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Srila Sachidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Vaishnav Sarvabhaum Shri Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Gauri Vedanta Charya Baladev Vijayabhushan Prabhu Ki Jai Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai Narottam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Trai Ki Jai Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai Shri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Das Raghunath Sara Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai Srila Surup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Gaur Parsada Vrinda Ki Jai Naam Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Go Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Jai Shri Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Jai Shri Purushottam Kshetra Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Govardhan Dvadashavanatmaka Shri Braj Mandala Dham Ki Jai Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Yamuna Ganga Tulsi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Govinda Radha Gopinath Radha Madan Mohan Jiu Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda Radha Shyama Sundar Radha Raman Radha Damodar Jiu Ki Jai Srimati Lalita Vishaka Adi Ashta Sakhi Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Rupa Manjari Rati Manjari Ananga Manjari Adi Manjari Vrinda Ki Jai Shrimati Vrinda Devi Ki Jai Shrimati Parnamasa Yogamaya Devi Ki Jai Shri Gopi Swar Mahadev Ki Jai Sarva Bhishta Pradata Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra Jiu Ki Jai Bhakti Vigna Vinashana Shri Nrsinga Dev Ki Jai Bhakta Pravara Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai Charo Dham Charo Sampradaya Charo Acharya Ki Jai Akar Mataraj Shri Chaitanya Mat Ki Jai Aur Ananya Shaka Mat Samuha Ki Jai Shri Vishva Vaishnava Raj Sabha Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Tribhuvana Pavana Harinama Samkirtan Ki Jai Tribhuvana Mangala Harinama Prabhu Ki Jai Hare Krishna Maha Mantra Ki Jai Sachinandana Gaura Hari Ki Jai Shri Nityananda Mahajana Ki Jai Shri Panchatattva Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Jai Shri Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. So just like 5 minutes Shri Krishna Chaitanya Hare Krishna.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita
Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai Satchidananda, Jai Gaura Hari, Satchidananda, Jai Gaura Hari, Jai
Satchidananda, Jai Gaura Hari, Satchidananda, Jai Gaura Hari.
Jai Rupa Raghunath, Jai Rupa Raghunath, Rupa Raghunath, Jai Rupa Raghunath, Jai Rupa Raghunath, Jai Rupa Raghunath, Rupa Raghunath. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada,
Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada.
Jai Gurudeva, 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 Jaya Gurudeva,
Gurudeva, Gurudeva, Gurudeva,
Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol,
Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल।
Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkripatamaham Vande Shri Gurundinataranam Vansha kalpadurubhascha kripa sindhubheva cha patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Namo mahabhadanaya Krishna prema pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Chise Nama. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vrindai Tulsi Debai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Sachavachai Namo Nama Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. First of all, I'm offering my unlimited Dandavat Pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Gurudev, Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Ashtatarasata Sri Srila A.C. Bhakti-vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. Then I'm offering my same unlimited Dandavat Pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Siksha Gurudevs Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnupad Ashtatarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Shridhar Goswami Maharaj and Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Ashtatarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I offer my Dandavat Pranams to the lotus feet of all my Sri Sri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga, and I offer my Dandavat Pranams to all of the Vaishnavas and to all of the Vaishnavis. So today is, and yesterday, but I'm going to cover yesterday. Yesterday was the disappearance day of Srila Akinchana Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj. I cannot let that day go by without glorifying him. I'll read Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj's Katha, and also he has given Katha for today, which is Sri Abhiram Thakur. It's very short and sweet, you got to hear it. And also Srila Bhakti Kumud Santa Goswami Maharaj, one of the most recent and one of the oldest living disciples of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who was also very prominent, and Srila Bharati Maharaj had quite an extensive association with him. So we won't have time to go through all three of these, but we'll mention a few points. But I want to read the shortest one first, Abhiram Thakur. You know what he was famous for? Yes. He's famous for Jaya Mangal. Do you know what Jaya Mangal is? Any of you know what Jaya Mangal is? No, you don't. Now today you're going to learn. Jaya Mangal is a whip. You know what a whip is? Like if you're driving horses and you take your whip and you go to make the horses go faster. You understand? What's the word in Russian? Loud so I can hear it. Knut. 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 Knutta. So this personality, Abhiram Thakur, is a direct eternal associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay? During Mahaprabhu's pastimes, he was there, always. Abhiram Thakur. And he had a very peculiar and amazing pastime that he would perform with a whip. Knutta. Yes, with a whip. Now, before I tell what this whip did, who of you would like to get whipped by his whip, which is called Jaya Mangala? Only one person. My God. Again, I'm asking the same question. Who of you here would like to get whipped on your body by Abhiram Thakur's whip, which is named Jaya Mangala? Hey, Madhavi, do you want to get whipped by Jaya Mangala? Okay, very good. I'm raising my hand and I go first. So now you're going to hear this wonderful. So, of course, Srila Bharati Maharaj always prefaces his glorification with the same statement. What is that? Today is a very special day, for it is the disappearance day of Abhiram Thakur, and the Vaishnava's appearance and disappearance days are equally significant. Equally. Why? Because both stimulate their remembrance within our hearts, and they herald auspiciousness. So by observing such tithis, all inauspiciousness goes away. Isn't that a pretty amazing thing? That if you observe on their disappearance and appearance days, you think of them, all your inauspiciousness goes away. Without their mercy, we can never get liberated from this material world. Without their mercy, never can get liberated from this material world. So, it is necessary to observe Vaishnava tithis. So, Abhiram Thakur, he appeared at Kanakula Krishna Nagar, where a temple now stands, which houses the deities that he worshipped. There's a picture here. It's very small though, but still you can see. The same deities that he worshipped are there in that house. And next to that house is a bakul tree. It's called Siddha Bakul Kunja. And it is believed that Abhiram Thakur used to like sitting beneath this tree. Now, Abhiram Thakur possessed great strength. One very unique feature about him was that he had an incredible whip named Jai Mangala. Knut Jai Mangala. Anyone who was struck by this whip, anyone who he hit with his whip, what would happen to that person? Immediately, instantaneously, he became overcome with Krishna Prem. Now I ask again, which of you wants to get whipped? No? That means you did not understand what I just read. Huh?
I don't know how to wait.
You want a harder way? Do you think that that's an easy way? You are very, very wrong. How are you going to meet Abhiram Thakur? Huh? How are you going to meet him? Is he just suddenly going to come and take birth on the earth planet and whip everybody? No. How are you going to meet Abhiram Thakur and literally get whipped by his whip? You think that's going to come easy? What will be difficult? What will you have to do first? Huh? Oh my God. Sukriti? Go away. No. You need to attain high levels like Ruchi, Asakti, Bhav. Then you can take birth in Mahaprabhu's pastimes. And then you can meet Abhiram Thakur and get whipped by him. And then you can get Krishna Prem. So if you want a more difficult way, then you should stay in the material world for a few more lifetimes. Because this is not easy to meet these associates. But you know what is not difficult? To remember them, to think about them, to hear their pastimes, to repeat their pastimes, and in your heart to pray, oh one day, oh Abhiram Thakur, please whip me with your whip. Now you're going to hear a story about someone getting whipped. And by the way, I have to mention, around, I don't remember which year it was, we were in Germany with Gurudev. And it was like winter. It was like probably around middle 2000s, 2005, 6, something like that. And he was having a festival in winter in Germany. And it so happened that the appearance day, appearance day of Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur came while he was there, which is also simultaneously the disappearance day of who? Huh? Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj. So in that assembly, Gurudev wanted, because there was a few disciples of Raghunath Bhatta, a few disciples of Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj in the audience, and he requested them to tell something about Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj. But first Gurudev told something, and he said, I have heard that Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj, he had one stick. And then he asked the disciples, did he have a stick? They said, yes. Not this short, like a stick. And did any of you ever get hit with his stick? Yes. And he said, yes. He reminds me of one associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu named Abhiram Thakur. He had a whip. And if he whipped anyone with that whip, he'd get Krishna Prem. But Gaur Govinda Maharaj, what would happen if he would hit someone with his stick? Their false ego would disintegrate. And they felt very good in their heart because of the burden of the false ego being lifted. His classes were so purifying because almost without fail, in every single class, his disciples told me that he would zero in on someone in the audience, some devotee, and he would start to address them by name, and he would start to ask them different questions, which put them on the spot. But what he would do is he would also ask questions to them that were very embarrassing in front of the whole audience, like that a devotee was reading unmentionable things. So there was a place right, kind of like not directly in front, but a little bit to the right, and the devotees, they would fight to sit there before Gaur Govinda Maharaj came and he sat down on his Vyasasana. The devotees would struggle and push each other and fight to be able to sit there in that spot. Do you know why? Why?
Because everybody wants
No, but what would Gaur Govinda Maharaj do? not hitting, he hit them with his words. That was so more rare with the stick. That was much more rare. But with the stick of his words, he would cause all of the anarthas to come bubbling up to the surface in front of everyone. And then he would slash the anarthas. And that's why, because when the devotees experienced that, it was like surgery, like life-saving surgery. So Gaur Govinda Maharaj, he was like Abhiram Thakur, and Abhiram Thakur had this whip. So Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj is saying that to this day, that very whip is preserved in a box at the temple in Kanakula Krishna Nagar. It is displayed for public viewing on Abhiram Thakur's disappearance day, which is today. Yes. Now, Srila Prabhupada, my Param Gurudev, Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, he visited this place. He mentioned it in his commentary to the Chaitanya Charitamrita. All the information pertaining to the glories of this place and how to access it has been mentioned therein. So how you can get there, everything. Those who have read this commentary would be aware. Now here comes the incident. Once, Srinivas Acharya. Who's Srinivas Acharya? Who is Srinivas Acharya? You don't know? Have you heard of Narottam Thakur? Narottam Thakur, have you heard of him? Narottam Das Thakur? What did he do? He wrote many, many songs. 2 songbooks. How to Attain Krishna Prem. Narottam Thakur. And Narottam Das Thakur came under the guidance in Vrindavan of Srila Jiva Goswami, along with 2 other personalities. There were 3 of them. They were the students of Jiva Goswami. Who are the other 2? Yes? Srinivas what? Acharya. He was given the title Acharya. Narottam was given the title Thakur. And Shyamananda was given the name Shyamananda Prabhu. So once Srinivas Acharya, he approached Abhiram Thakur to borrow his copy of the Srimad Bhagavatam. But he found that the script was smudged with the tears of Abhiram Thakur. Then, having heard that there was another copy of the Bhagavat, because in those days, to find a copy of the Srimad Bhagavatam was extremely rare. Why? Because they had to write them by hand. So then he heard that there was another copy of the Bhagavat in the possession of who? Who? Gadadhar Pandit. So then Srinivas Acharya went to Jagannath Puri. And then when he came there, what did he discover? That copy of Gadadhar Pandit it met the same fate. The script was smudged by his incessant tears of Gadadhar Pandit, who was weeping always in separation from Mahaprabhu. So thus, Srinivas Acharya returned once more to Abhiram Thakur. And then, when he returned to Abhiram Thakur lashed Srinivas Acharya with his whip 2 times. And suddenly then his wife came. She interrupted him and she exclaimed, He is just a child. He won't be able to bear so much prem. Don't give him another one. 2. So Abhiram Thakur is an eternal associate of the Lord. He is full of Krishna prem. In fact, just by his touch or his glance, he could award Krishna prem. So then why did he use his whip to bestow Krishna prem? Comprehension of such pastimes is beyond our mind and intelligence. You can't ask those questions. Why? It can only be concluded that Vaishnavas, they have unique ways in which they bestow their grace. So we remembered his life and his glories today. I pray at his lotus feet that if even an insignificant drop of his Hari Bhakti manifests in my heart, then my human birth will be successful. What makes our lives successful? He's asking the question. What makes our lives successful? Our life is successful when a person attains Krishna Bhakti. Krishna Bhakti. When he attains Krishna Bhakti. Not Krishna Prem. Krishna Bhakti. And then when one obtains the audience of Sri Krishna himself, then your human form of life is successful. Janama safalatar Krishna darshana jar bhagye hoyache ek bar. That person's birth is successful if, by good fortune, he has Krishna's darshan just once. Gaur Premanandi. Jai Srila Abhiram Thakur Ki Jai. I didn't say here. Sridham? Yeah, okay. And Sridham in Krishna Leela is the younger brother of Srimati Radhika. Very intimate position. So, now, the disappearance of Sri Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj. I was very, very fortunate because I had his darshan a few times. First time was in 1975. When I came the very first time here to Mayapur. And it was Gaur Purnima festival, Prabhupada came, everything. But on those 2 weeks that Prabhupada was here in Mayapur, then, devotees would go up the stairs. The same building is there right now, but it's been built onto, for the new temple. But the front side of that building is the same stairway, the same front face, and it's opposite to what we called the long building. Okay, so Srila Prabhupada would walk down those stairs because his room was not on the first level up the stairs, but on the second level up the stairs. His room was there. So he would come down the stairs to give class, and then later he would go back up those stairs. So inevitably, in the later morning after breakfast time, many devotees were accumulating upstairs. Actually, I'm not sure if it was the second level or the third level. I'll have to check that again. So, but anyway, I came up there just like, I'm not authorized to be up there, but I'm going anyway, and I'm going to see what happens and who's there. And I remember going around, like when you're facing the building and you walk up to that first level, then you turn right. So I turned right, and then it goes down and it goes around to the back side, because the whole building is built with verandas, completely, all surrounding the whole building. And when I came around the corner and I looked, there was a person sitting there, cross-legged, wearing white and just leaning up against the wall. Nobody else was around, just that person. And that person's face looked exactly like Srila Prabhupada's face. So I said, oh, who is this? It turned out to be Srila Prabhupada's sister. Pishima, we would call her, because Pishima means auntie, in Bengali language. So all of us used to call her Pishima. And she was the sister of Srila Prabhupada. But her facial features were just like a female version of Prabhupada. Srila Gurudev, Srila Narayan Maharaj, his sister also came, and she looks like him also. Yes, yes. So, so anyway, I went back. When I saw her, I came back. Didn't want to disturb. And so then I went up another level. And there, leaning against the rail, was a person who was surrounded by maybe about 5 or 10 devotees. And he was just like leaning up against the railing, standing. And he seemed to be in a very jovial mood. And he was Hare Krishna, like this. So then I asked somebody, or somebody told to me, because there were some Bengali devotees there as well. And they said, oh, this is Prabhupada's godbrother, Krishnadas Babaji. He is very, very exalted, pure devotee. So that was the first time that I saw him. And that same year, in 1975, when we finished with Mayapur section of the Parikrama, and then we went to Hyderabad for 5 days, and then we took the train to Vrindavan. And it was the first time most of us had been in Vrindavan. And there were no cars at that time. That main road, which is even blocked off by police now, so many cars and everything you can imagine. And so we just laid on the road, which was becoming named Bhakti-tattva-viveka Swami Marg. And to this day it's still called Bhakti-tattva-viveka Swami Marg, named after my Srila Prabhupada. So we laid on the road, coming out of the buses that picked us up from the train station. And then we were there with Srila Prabhupada for about 2 weeks or so. And it was during that time that Srila Prabhupada installed Krishna Balaram deities, Gaur Nitai, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati deity, his own deity, and then Radha Shyama Sundar, Lalita Vishaka. And this was the very first time in Vrindavan that there was a temple started by Western-bodied Vaishnavas. And so it was very, very unique thing. Prabhupada, he actually invited, and they kind of invited themselves, there's a certain class of purohits who do installations and yagyas and all of that. And they were well known in Vrindavan. So they suggested to Prabhupada that if we can do yagya for many days before the installation of the deities, then the local people will accept it as being like an authorized temple, right? But what did Prabhupada write in his Chaitanya Charitamrita purport? Do you remember? Yes, because Prabhupada ordered that non-stop kirtan should be going on. So like on the other side, the devotees would be doing kirtan. Like where you come in the rear entryway there. They were doing over on that side. And then in the middle, then they were doing all the yagyas and everything. So Srila Prabhupada actually mentioned there that he considered it the real installation of the deities was not all those yagyas, but it was the performance of Harinam Samkirtan. Yes. Anyway, Srila Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj was actually there. I didn't see him during that time, but at the end, when most of the devotees went back, he would come kind of regularly for the noon artik or like that. And also Pishima and another disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati named Anand Brahmachari. He was a cook for Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. So every morning, he and Pishima would prepare everything, and they would cook numerous preparations for the midday bhog offering, you know. And there was one devotee there named Gopati. Did you ever know Gopati? Prabhupada disciple. He watched everything they did every single day, every single spice, what they added, like that. And then from that, he wrote a cookbook later on. But what they did was they prepared everything, and in those days, you know, there was like a standing kerosene stove. That was like the main thing. They didn't come with these gas, you connect it up with double burner and all that. It was mainly a kerosene stove, which had a burner on the top of it. And that one burner, I'm not sure if they had one or two burners, but both of them would squat in front of that, because that's what Indians are able to do. Like, they can sit in that position comfortably for a couple of hours, you know. So they would squat, or they would have like a really small wooden seat underneath them. So yeah, and they would cook every day. We would get to taste the remnants of the Mahaprasadam plates offered to the deities. But Srila Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, he would come and go, and now I got to know him somewhat, you know. Just know who he is a little bit. But really, the most profound experience that I had with him, of course, leading up to the disappearance in 1977, November, of our Srila Prabhupada there, Krishna Balaram Mandir, leading up to that, Akinchana Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj's kirtans, they began to manifest all over ISKCON, because they taped him chanting, playing mridanga chanting. And later on, like in the late 90s, 2000s, there was one devotee who was a Prabhupada disciple, lived in Thailand. I don't know if he's still there, but he was named Rishikesh Maharaj before, and I forget his initiated, Rishikesh Das. He was sannyasi for a while, but then he left that. But he lived with Akinchana Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj in Vrindavan, at the Bon Maharaj temple there in Vrindavan. He lived there, you know, and yeah, so and that devotee wrote some articles for it was like an online thing called Vaishnava News Network. Do you ever remember that? And he wrote a series of articles, actually, with remembering the times that he had been with Krishnadas Babaji, and he estimated that he probably attended at least 1,500 of his kirtans, because every single day Akinchana Krishnadas Babaji would be chanting like 8 hours out of the day kirtan, and then the rest he would be doing japa, you know. So he was amazing Mahabhagavad personality. So so at the very end, on the final evening when Srila Prabhupada departed, and we were all told that we're going to stay in the temple room all through the night, so I had a spot a little bit, probably like the same distance from here to that window, but just in front of me was Akinchana Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, and I knew at that point, because I'd heard so many things, that he's a very exalted pure devotee. And you know, that evening in November, that was particularly cold. That winter was particularly cold, and it got quite cold early on. And so I had some layers of clothing, and I had a chadar, Lal Imli. Remember those? And they're very warm and very wonderful quality, pure wool. And so Akinchana Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj was sitting, and he was just wearing the very thin Babaji Vesh, very thin, and just the top uttariya and the bottom, which only went up to his knees. So Akinchana Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj was sitting right in front of me, and I wanted that I should give my chadar to him to wear, because it was cold, and that we're going to be sitting there all through the night. So I took my chadar, I kind of like had it slightly folded, and then I just touched his shoulder and offered it. He turned around, and then I offered it to him, and he went, just... So I think it was Bhagwat Prabhu at that time, Bhagwat Maharaj, who witnessed what I was doing. And then he came up to me and he said, "Don't ask Maharaj, just put it on him, just put." So that's what I did. He was sitting in front of me, his back was facing me, I took my chadar and I put it, and then he accepted it and he put it around his shoulder. In the morning at 6 a.m., when it was the coldest time, when they're going to take Srila Prabhupada on the palanquin and bring him all throughout Vrindavan for the next 2 hours, 2.5 hours. So everyone suddenly got up, and now they're lifting the palanquin off the Vyasasan, and now Srila Prabhupada is going to proceed. After the deity greeting, then he's going to proceed on this parikrama, the final parikrama. And Krishnadas Babaji just stood up, took the chadar, folded it up, and handed it back to me. That chadar I considered a very sacred keepsake, and I tried to keep it. But when I flew one time from England to New York on Pan American Airlines, they lost my bag, which had that in it. So at any rate, I've heard so much about Akinchana Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj. He also had a very intimate relationship with Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. He had a very intimate relationship with Srila Narayan Maharaj, with our Srila Prabhupada. Actually, he used to go to all the different Gaudiya mats, although at that time there were some tensions between the different mats, but he was just free agent, just floating here and there. He would appear suddenly, he would disappear suddenly. Barely anyone ever saw him eating or sleeping, literally. Only very rarely. So he was a highest level Bhajananandi, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj, one time, because he used to stay at Srila Sridhar Maharaj's mat on occasion, and he would be downstairs below Srila Sridhar Maharaj's room. There was an entranceway there, still is. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj said to Babaji Maharaj, he says, "I have heard that you are going to my birthplace, my village, the local residence," because Srila Sridhar Maharaj's family was still living there, his brothers, sisters, and so forth. Hapaniya, that's the name of that village. You ever been there? Apparently there's a big temple that was built there by Bhakti Sundar Govinda Maharaj after. And so Srila Sridhar Maharaj addressed him and he said, "Babaji Maharaj, I'm hearing that you're going to visit my birthplace and that you're circumambulating my birthplace and taking the dust from there. Why you are doing this?" Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj answered Srila Sridhar Maharaj, the verses that you have composed, because you know, Akinchana Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj knew hundreds and hundreds of shlokas. He was not only chanting songs composed by the acharyas, but even shlokas. And some of his favorite shlokas were come from the long poem about Mahaprabhu and his whole life and teachings, written by Srila Sridhar Maharaj in Sanskrit, an amazing Sanskrit meter. Prema Dama Deva Meva Nomi Gauda Sundaram. 72 verses. And Krishnadas Babaji, there's even kirtans recorded of him where he's singing one or two or three of those verses. There's one that was Krishna, 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 and then it goes on like that. So he said to Srila Sridhar Maharaj, the verses that you have composed, I consider them to be on the same level as Srila Rupa Goswami's compositions. Therefore, I go to honor your birthplace. Yes. So there's so much more to say, but I like I said, for the other third personality, yes, Srila Bhakti Kumud Santa Goswami Maharaj. Yeah, you'll have to read how Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj glorifies him. He has an amazing life, came very young to the mud. There's a whole pastime about him, his determination to stay in the mud, and how his parents became affected by that, and they even came and took initiation from Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. He was a great Kirtaniya also. There are some recordings you can see on YouTube, some video recordings of him. He what? He wrote what?
He wrote his kirtans also.
Oh, really? Ah, okay. That's interesting. Like a little book or what?
He has a songbook, and in his songbook there are a few songs
that he wrote. Oh, Chai.
Did you ever read him, Mara?
No, I never had his personal darshan. Because, like, especially in the latter years, I don't quite remember which year he departed, but it, you know, at least I think it might have been just slightly before our Gurudev departed, or was it after? It was.
I went for the samadhi.
You had his darshan.
I mean, I went for the samadhi.
Oh, to his samadhi? Oh, what year was that?
It was after Gurudev.
A couple of years after? Okay. But for those few years, I had heard this many times, that they kept him on life support. And for a long time, like 4 or 5 years, you know, kept him on life support. And, you know, it was one of the reasons why Gurudev also told, never put me on that. Yeah. So, yeah, he's a great personality in our disciplic line. And I was just thinking this morning, as I was recollecting and reading especially about Abhiram Thakur this morning, I was just thinking how valuable that book really is of Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj, because unfortunately, I'm not going to get into it right now, but there's such wrong misconceptions by the leaders of the institution about Prabhupada's God brothers. And literally, they just like, you know, they put everyone in one category. Oh, they were envious of Prabhupada, or this or that, you know. And then that's like the temperament of those who have been fed this very disgusting, you know, very, very offensive attitudes. But that has to be corrected. Why? Because if anyone takes a little bit of time to do what? to actually read the short biographical life sketches of Srila Prabhupada's godbrother, of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's exalted disciples, who were accepted by Srila Bharati Maharaj as his Siksha gurus. And you read about their life. After 5 or 10 of them, there's like about 30 of them there. After about 5 or 10 of them, you're in shock. You're in complete shock. How exalted, unique personalities they were, you know. And there were quite many of them. And our Gurudev, because Gurudev is in like the same age category, similar age category, you know, as Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj and our Gurudev and a few others. So they're from that older, and they're disciples of direct disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. You know, so Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj, you know, he considered himself to be so fortunate. And our Gurudev used to say the same thing. He said, I was so fortunate because when I came to the lotus feet of my Guru Maharaj at the end of 1946, right? There were so many disciples of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada living, and used to always come and visit. So Gurudev said, I used to get their darshan, I used to be able to take the remnants of their prasadam, I used to be able to serve them, and I have so many Siksha gurus. And of course amongst them, some of them like Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, he was literally the personal servant of him for about 6 months, you know. So
was right next to the train station in Mathura. And so it was like the...
It was?
Yeah.
The Keshavji Gaudiya Math in Mathura.
Like,
next to the train station.
Yeah, like the Mathura train station. And the old bus stand. And so it was...
Well, not far from the train station, but it's not right next to the train station.
Yeah, but it's like it's very close. It's like
yeah, it's pretty close.
5-minute walk or something like that, right?
Oh, I thought it was a bit farther. Okay, go ahead. Then
right,
what?
So it was, and it was the only mott in Mathura, and everybody would come by train to Mathura. So it was like the pit stop for all Vaishnavas. And so
even in Vrindavan, practically no Gaudiya Mats.
Yeah. And so Gurudev had the opportunity to serve everybody because that was the main place everybody would go to when they'd arrive in Mathura. They'd go there, take the side, and
there he got the chance, and also he would regularly go to stay with his Guru Maharaj in Navadvip here. So he had so many opportunities like that. Okay, so all glories to these divine personalities. We pray for a few drops of their mercy to come on our heads. Shri Abhiram Thakur ki jai. Srila Akinchana Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Srila Bhakti Kumud Santa Maharaj Goswami Maharaj ki jai. All the disciples of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. Okay, so we are studying Manasiksha. We're beginning the study of Manasiksha. But already this has branched off into some very relevant, absolutely required reading before really attempting to read the book. Now, of course, we have many different levels here in this room right now. I have personal godbrothers. There are very senior devotees, born as devotees, just, born to Prabhupada disciples, very learned, qualified, doing bhajan very seriously. But then there's also a younger category of devotees in this room. Before being able to enter into the Manasiksha, I feel that it is very essential. I've already raised the topic in the last couple of classes, that the understanding of what is bhakti should be first of all comprehended properly. So already in 2 of my classes, I think maybe even 3 of them, I've raised this topic about bhakti. And of course, we have referred to how our Gurudev would always read the definition verse written by Rupa Goswami. Now, without understanding that verse, no one can begin to read the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, because it's given as 1.1.11 in the book. And Gurudev also, for presenting what he wanted to present, he kept on quoting that verse, having devotees explain it, because it is very relevant. And so in our discussion after the class the other day with Maharaj, Sajjan Maharaj and Bopadev Prabhu in my room, we started to discuss and also read a little bit from the introduction to another book written by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, which is the perfect entry-level subject matter, written as 4 essays by Bhakti-Vinod Thakur. And this is called Bhakti-tattva-viveka, which is really an amazing presentation. In that book, and also in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu, which Gurudev has given us, written by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, there is also a somewhat in-depth study of the verse, Anyabhilashita Shunyam, broken down by the words and so forth. And I can't tell you how many times Gurudev would have someone stand up, tell the verse, and then speak about it. Okay? So, as I was reading the introduction to Bhakti-tattva-viveka, and then going into the first part, 4 parts, because of the 4 essays, I was astonished. Although I haven't read that in many, many years. But that made a big impact on me years ago. Now the impact is even greater. Because just the ingenious, how Bhakti-Vinod Thakur has made this very in-depth subject matter available. So what I decided to do is to read from that book, and it's a very small book. It's not long. Small. It was even printed in a very abbreviated way. So I'm going to read from the preface, which is very short. This preface has come from Gurudev's, Hindi version of Bhakti-tattva-viveka. He's telling here that it's very essential to understand the word bhakti. And the other day, did I not ask the question in the class? Yes? Did I ask the question the other day in the class? What is bhakti? But barely any of you could answer that question. All you could do is say Anyabhilashita Shunyam, but you couldn't explain it. Huh? You could?
I can.
Oh, yeah?
I remember it almost.
Okay. We'll test you. We'll test you. So, what is the term Bhakti-tattva-viveka? What does that mean? Tattva-vivek. What does the word vivek mean? Vivek means to discriminate, to use your intelligence to examine. Vivek. A person who knows how to do that is called a viveki. One who has sharp intelligence and can analyze and can discriminate. Vivek. So, Bhakti-tattva-viveka is the title of the book, because now what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is going to do is to do such very detailed discrimination on the subject of what? Bhakti tattva. What is the tattva? What is the principle of bhakti? So, Srila Gurudev is giving a preface to this. So he's saying, the unlimited glories of devotion, unto the Supreme Lord, which is called Bhagavad Bhakti. These unlimited glories are visible in the Puranas, in the Shrutis, in the Smritis, the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, and as well as in the literatures of the famous Vaishnava preceptors, acharyas. So by understanding the constitutional nature of unalloyed devotion, which is called Shuddha Bhakti. Shuddha means pure, unalloyed. So by understanding the constitutional nature of unalloyed devotion, Shuddha Bhakti, and then by genuinely engaging in its practice, one can easily cross the ocean of nescience, easily, by doing that, and can achieve life's ultimate goal of love for the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, Krishna Prem. So what to speak of the genuine practice of Shuddha Bhakti, even the attainment of a slight semblance of bhakti can award what? The fourfold boons that everybody in this world is looking for. What are those? Dharma, Artha, Kam, Moksha. Right? Economic development, religiosity, sense gratification, and liberation. So, even, he's saying here, even a slight semblance of bhakti can award that. Huh? So, therefore, people in general, they become attracted towards the cultivation of bhakti, because they think that they're going to get dharma, artha, kam, moksha, and all of that, even by a slight semblance of bhakti. But, due to being ignorant of the true nature of unalloyed devotion, they're ignorant of the nature of Shuddha Bhakti. What happens is they usually come under they usually come in contact with pretentious devotees. What does pretentious mean? They have a pretense. They have another motivation, but outwardly they're showing something different. So they're called pretentious devotees. And what is the nature of those pretentious devotees? They only desire wealth, women, and fame. So these ignorant people, because they're ignorant of the true nature of unalloyed devotion, Shuddha Bhakti, they come in contact usually with these pretentious devotees. That's what happens. They desire only wealth, women, fame, and then under their influence, they either practice false devotion or they adopt devotional sentiments that are against the principles of pure devotion. And then, as this is going on, all the while, imagining that they are imagining them to be pure bhakti. All of these false devotion, devotional sentiments that are against the principles of pure devotion, and all the while they're imagining them to be what? Pure devotion, pure bhakti. Does that sound familiar? So, coming under the influence of those desiring impersonal liberation, coming under their influence, they practice either a shadow or a reflection of real bhakti, and they deceive themselves. So thus they do not achieve the real fruit of bhakti. Now, hence, the Acharya of the profound science of devotional mellows, the most merciful Srila Rupa Goswami, he has explained in his book, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he has explained the true nature of unalloyed devotion on the basis of scriptural evidences. So that topic is covered in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. What is the nature of Shuddha Bhakti? And in that book, he has explained the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he has explained the true nature of unalloyed devotion on the basis of what? Scriptural evidence. Now, moreover, he has described the nature of, get ready for this list here. Not only has described the nature of Shuddha Bhakti, but he has also described the nature of Chala Bhakti. What does Chala mean? Pretentious devotion. Again, Chala Bhakti Dushana Rama in that song, Kali Kukur. He has also described Abhas Bhakti, which means a semblance of devotion. Also Pratibimba Bhakti, a reflection of devotion. Karma Mishra Bhakti, devotion mixed with fruitive action. Jnana Mishra Bhakti, devotion mixed with impersonal knowledge, Jnana Mishra. Aropa Siddha Bhakti, endeavors that are indirectly attributed with the quality of devotion, Aropa Siddha. Sangha Siddha Bhakti, don't do that with your hand. Sangha Siddha Bhakti, endeavors associated with or favorable to the cultivation of devotion, and so on. So in the realm of devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is unanimously accepted as the most authoritative literature. But it was composed in Sanskrit, an ancient language that is comprehensible to very few people in the modern times. So, for the benefit of human society, in his Bhakti-tattva-viveka, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur has presented the grave and the deep conceptions of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu in the Bengali language, in a straightforward and very easily understandable manner. So Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur is an intimate, eternal associate of the masses. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur is an intimate, eternal associate of the Savior of the masses in the age of Kali, who is Sachinandan Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, intimate associate of Mahaprabhu. After the associates of Sri Gaurahari, such as the six Goswamis, Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj, Sri Narottam Thakur, Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, after they left this world and they entered the unmanifest pastimes, then the 100 years that followed are considered a dark period for the Gaudiya Vaishnava line. This is because during this period in the Gaudiya line, no powerful acharya appeared who could carry forward the teachings of Srimad Mahaprabhu in their pure form as was done previously. So as a result, in a very short span of time, on the pretext of following and preaching the doctrine of divine love taught by Srimad Mahaprabhu, what happened? Many false sects like Aul, Baul, Kartabaja, Neda, Nedi, Sai, Sahajiya, Saki Beki, Smarta, and Jati Gosai, they appeared. Many of these false sects appeared. And while engaged in abundant misbehavior, they began preaching their own imaginary and materially motivated deceitful principles. And they defamed Gaudiya Vaishnavism to such an extent that the educated and the respectable people, they started viewing it with abhorrence. Can you imagine that? The Gaudiya Vaishnavas were misbehaving, so-called Gaudiya Vaishnavas, to such a large extent that the educated people, who were respectable people, they looked and they said, this is disgusting. And they began to think that about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. And then what did they do? They defamed the Gaudiya Vaishnavas to such an extent, yes, that the people, they reject it. Now, gradually, because of that, the Gaudiya conception of devotion, began to disappear. So at this time in the year 1838, so that means the 100 years that Gurudev has just mentioned is from around 1738. I can't remember off the top of my head, the time period when Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Baladev Vidyabhushan were in the world. But it's around that time, in the early 1700s, late 1600s, like that. So that 100 years went by when there was no great powerful acharya, so therefore in 1838, Srila Sachidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he auspiciously appeared in a well-educated and cultured family in the village of Bir Nagar, which is near Sri Navadvip Dham in West Bengal. Have you been there? To his birthplace. Bhaktivinoda Thakur. You've been there.
Yeah, I went with Padmanabha.
Huh?
I went with
Long time ago.
Yeah.
How long does it take to get there from here?
Was it? Oh, I don't think it's very far from Mayapur.
Right, that's what it says.
Yeah, it wasn't very long.
Well, I have to go.
Yeah.
I absolutely have to go. So, then he's telling that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, by compiling approximately 100 authoritative books on the science of bhakti in Sanskrit, Bengali, Hindi, English, and other languages, then he ushered in a new era in the Gaudiya Vaishnava line, and he re-established its lost glory. So for this great effort, the Gaudiya Vaishnavas will remain eternally indebted to him. So in the modern age, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur set in motion once again the Bhakti Bhagirati, the mighty flowing river of pure devotion, and for this he will be well known as the seventh Goswami. So the Bhakti-tattva-viveka is a collection of 4 essays that he originally composed in Bengali on the deliberation of devotional principles. The first Hindi edition of this material, it was serialized in issue from the 4th to the 5th years 1958 to 1959 of the Sri Bhagavad Patrika. That's right around the time when our Prabhupada was staying there and also took sannyas, right? Of this Bhagavad Patrika, this a spiritual magazine in Hindi, published monthly from Sri Keshavji Gaudiya Math in Mathura. So on the request of our faithful readers, and by the inspiration of the present-day Acharya of the Sri Gaudiya Vedanta Samiti, Sri Srimad Bhakti-tattva-viveka Maharaj, it is now being presented in book form. So then he's telling of how this auspicious occasion, he's praying that Srila Vaman Maharaj will place it in the hands of Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, Acharya Keshari Jagat Guru, Om Vishnu Padastatara Sata Sri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. And that many other Gaudiya Vaishnava literatures are being published also. Anyway, lastly, I humbly request the faithful readers to deliberate upon this literature with great concentration. By understanding the true nature of unalloyed devotion, one can relish the ultimate goal of all scriptures, which is what? The pure nectar of Krishna Prem as exhibited and preached by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Gurudev signed this on the holy day of Sharadiya Purnima, 1990, at Sri Keshavji Gaudiya Math, Mathura, Uttar Pradesh. So now we begin chapter 1. We're not going to go very long now. We're beginning chapter 1, which is called the intrinsic nature of bhakti. We'll go for about 15 minutes now, and then we'll complete. So here there are 3 verses that Bhaktivinoda Thakur is composing to begin this book in Sanskrit. Yugapad rajate yasmin Beda Beda Vichitrata Vande Tam Krishna Chaitanyam Panchatatvan Vitam Svataha Pranamya Gauda Chandrasya Sevakan Shuddha Vaishnavan Bhakti-tattva-viveka Kyam Shastram Vakshyami Yatnataha Vishva Vaishnava Dasasya Kshudrasya Kinchanasya Me Etasmin Udyame Hyekam Balam Bhagavati Kshama. So he's saying, I offer my obeisances unto Sri Krishna Chaitanya, who is naturally manifest with his 4 primary associates in the Panchatattva, and in whom the contrasting qualities of Abed and Bed, unity and distinction, in whom they simultaneously exist. After offering obeisances unto the servants of Sri Gaurachandra, who are all pure Vaishnavas, I undertake with utmost care the writing of this book known as Bhakti-tattva-viveka. So being an insignificant and a destitute servant of all the Vaishnavas in the world, Vishva Vaishnava Das, in this endeavor of mine, I appeal for their divine forgiveness, for that is my only strength. So this is his prayer in beginning his book. Now he is directly addressing his respectable Vaishnava readers. He says, most respectable Vaishnavas, our sole objective is to relish and propagate the nectar of pure devotion, Shuddha Bhakti unto Lord Hari. Everyone repeat after me. most respectable Vaishnavas.
Most respectful Vaishnavas.
Our sole objective
Our sole objective
is to relish and to propagate
is to relish and to propagate
the nectar of pure devotion,
the nectar of pure devotion,
Shuddha Bhakti, unto Lord Hari.
unto Lord Hari.
So is this our sole objective? Let's question ourselves. Is this our sole objective, to relish and to propagate the nectar of pure devotion, Shuddha Bhakti, unto Lord Hari? Varying degrees amongst the devotees. So now Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, in light of this fact that that is our sole objective, therefore our foremost duty is to understand the true nature of Shuddha Bhakti. Right? Our foremost duty. If you're going to have as your sole objective to relish and to propagate also, to preach the nectar of pure devotion, Shuddha Bhakti unto Lord Hari, then your foremost duty is to understand the true nature of Shuddha Bhakti. So what does that automatically infer? That if you don't understand the true nature of Shuddha Bhakti, you're not going to be able to achieve this sole objective of relishing and propagating the nectar of pure devotion, Shuddha Bhakti. You may say that you're doing such high preaching and so forth, but if you yourself have not embraced this as your foremost duty, then you cannot say that you are qualified. Now, here Bhaktivinoda Thakur is trying to encourage us that we should understand the true nature of Shuddha Bhakti. So he says, this understanding, it will benefit us in two ways. If we develop this understanding, it will benefit us in two ways. First way, knowing the true nature of pure devotion, knowing that, it will dispel our ignorance concerning the topic of bhakti, and thus it will make our human lives successful by allowing us to relish the nectar derived from engaging in bhakti in its pure form. That's the first benefit. And then secondly, what is it? To understand the true nature of Shuddha Bhakti. Secondly, it will enable us to protect ourselves from the polluted and the mixed conceptions that currently exist in the name of pure devotion. Okay? Very big, these two. Now, unfortunately, in present day society, in the name of Shuddha Bhakti, various types of mixed devotion, such as Karma Mishra, mixed with fruit of action, Jnana Mishra, mixed with speculative knowledge, Yoga Mishra, mixed with various types of yoga processes, as well as various polluted and also imaginary conceptions, they are spreading everywhere like germs of a plague. Yeah. Like a plague. Pandemic. People in general, the general mass of people, they consider these polluted and these mixed conceptions to be bhakti. And they respect them as such. That's the problem. Is that going on today? You bet it is. You know how many bogus, cheating, rascal, charlatan gurus there are? And now they're taking advantage of the internet big time to speak with millions upon millions of people. I can name a few of them. Sadhguru, Vishwananda, this person, that person, this person, that person. They're abounding everywhere. Yes. What are they preaching? Polluted and imaginary conceptions. And it's spreading everywhere like germs of a plague. Now the people in general, they consider that these polluted and these mixed conceptions are bhakti. I've met those people. And they respect them as being such, and thus they remain deprived of unalloyed devotion. These polluted, these mixed conceptions are our greatest enemies. What are these polluted and misconceptions? Mixed misconceptions? They are our greatest what? Greatest enemies. Now some people say that there is no value in bhakti. Some people say like that. No value in bhakti. They say that God is an imaginary sentiment only, that man has merely created the image of a God in his imagination, and that bhakti is just a diseased state of consciousness that cannot benefit us in any way. These types of people, though they are opposed to bhakti, actually they cannot do much harm to us. Why? Because we can easily recognize them and avoid them. So how can they harm us? If we can recognize them for what they are, and then we just say, get out of here. So, they cannot do much harm to us because we can easily recognize them and avoid them. But those who propagate that devotion unto the Supreme Lord is the highest path. They propagate that, yet they behave against the principles of Shuddha Bhakti, and they also instruct other principles of Shuddha Bhakti. They can be especially harmful to us. In the name of Bhakti, they instruct us against the actual principles of devotional life, and ultimately they lead us onto a path that is totally opposed to Bhagavad Bhakti. So therefore, with great endeavor, our preceptors have defined the intrinsic nature, the swarup of bhakti. And they have repeatedly cautioned us to keep ourselves away from polluted and mixed concepts. Repeatedly. Cautioning. So we shall deliberate on their instructions in sequence. They have compiled numerous literatures to establish the swarup of bhakti. And amongst them, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is the most beneficial. So in defining the general characteristics of unalloyed devotion, Srila Rupa Goswami has written there in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, verse 1.1.11. What's the verse? Anya bilashita shunyam jnana karma dhyanavritam anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhaktir uttama. So here's the everyone can repeat after me. Everyone repeat after me. Anya bilashita shunyam jnana karma dhyanavritam anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhaktir uttama. You tell now. Tell the verse. Can you tell, Maharaj? Anya bilashita. Anu. Tell.
Anya bhilashita shunyam jnana karma dhyanavritam anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhaktir uttama.
Actually, it's anu. A lot of devotees pronounce anukulyena, but it's anukulyena. Anukulyena krishnanu. Can you do? No? Ovadevji? Come on. Just one shlok, we want to hear from you. Oh, We're just repeating the Anya Abhilashita Shunyam shloka one by one, like Prabhupada used to do. Just a verse.
This is it.
Can you do, Gauranga? I'm going to ask you every single day in these classes, so you better write it down, okay, and start memorizing this verse, okay? Okay? Yes or no? All right. Can you do? Do. You're reading it. That's not doing. It's not doing. Okay. Okay. So, this verse means as follows: the cultivation of activities that are meant exclusively for the pleasure of Sri Krishna. Or in other words, the uninterrupted flow of service to Sri Krishna is performed through all endeavors of the body, mind, and speech, and through the expression of various spiritual sentiments, bhavs, which is not covered by gyan, karma. Gyan means knowledge aimed at impersonal liberation. That's what it means. And karma means reward-seeking activities. So, it is not covered by gyan, karma, and which is devoid of all other desires than the aspiration to bring happiness to Sri Krishna, is called what? Uttama Bhakti. What?
Uttama Bhakti.
Or pure devotional service. Now I'm going to tell you one experience I had. In Volgograd, Russia, I think it was. Gurudev told me to stand up and tell the shloka. So, I started explaining the shloka from the first line. What's the first line? Anya Abhilashita Shunyam, which means what?
No material desires.
No other desires. It doesn't say material. It says anya. Anya means other desires, besides what is going to be told in this verse. I began to explain it from the first line. Gurudev stopped me. He said, this is not how you explain this verse. You have to first of all tell what is the Swarup Lakshan of Bhakti. And then you can tell the Tatashta Lakshan of Bhakti. Now, most people, a lot of the devotees here, they don't know the meaning of this term, Swarup Lakshan, Tatashta Lakshan, because they haven't studied this topic yet. But they're going to study it now. So, what is the Swarup Lakshan? It means the principal feature of Bhakti. Not the Tatastha feature. It is the main feature. It is Bhakti. This is what is Bhakti. The third line of this verse, Anukulyena Krishnanu Shilanam. That is the Swarup Lakshan of Bhakti. Now, I'm going to request Sajjan Maharaj to tell the meaning of Anukulyena Krishnanu Shilanam. Did Gurudev have you ever stand up and speak in front of him this verse? Yes? How many times? Once or twice?
A few times.
Okay.
So, the Swarup Lakshan, this means the internal aspect of this verse. So it's also will give the Tatash Lakshan, those things which are not Uttama Bhakti, the external things, And so this particular aspect, Anukulyena Krishnanushilanam. So Gurudev is mentioned in this verse, or Srila Prabhupada Goswami is mentioned in this verse 3 times Anu. So one of the Swarup Lakshans of this verse is under the guidance of advanced Vaishnavas who possess this Uttama pure bhakti. So the intrinsic nature of bhakti is that one should perform activities that are, specifically here Rupa Goswami has used Anukulyena, and he hasn't used what is pleasing to Krishna, but he's used the term Anukulyena, what is beneficial for Krishna.
No, what is favorable for Krishna. Anukul means favorable.
Favorable,
yes.
Beneficial, favorable. So, and is explained in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur that well, why wouldn't one use this term, what is pleasing to Krishna? And he gives the example of Mother Yashoda in the pastime of binding Krishna. Krishna was fearful, and even when she started to bind him with the rope, he was crying. So this wasn't pleasing to Krishna. But we can't say Mother Yashoda's bhakti was not pure bhakti, because she had Krishna's what was favorable for Krishna. She didn't want him to engage in activities that were naughty or detrimental for him being properly activities of proper performance. So, and on the other hand, those who caused Krishna and Balaram so much pleasure, when they went to Mathura to engage in the wrestling match that Kamsa arranged, when they engaged in the wrestling with Char Mustika, the big, violent, powerful, strong wrestlers, they were very happy. But the motivation of Char Mustika was to kill them. So their bhakti, although was making Krishna and Balaram happy, because they enjoyed fighting, it's not pure bhakti, because their intention, their motivation was inspired by Kamsa to kill Krishna. So this is not accepted as pure bhakti, because it's not anukul, it's not favorable. So
favorable for what? For Krishna's benefit.
Krishna's benefit.
This is the word that has to be used here. It is favorable for Krishna's benefit. Mother Yashoda is always benefiting Krishna. But you're nicely explaining.
That's what I used first.
Yeah,
and you
yeah, I know. But I'm just trying to.
For Krishna's, what's favorable for his ultimate benefit.
Okay.
So that is the definition. That's the explanation of this third part of this verse.
Okay, but what about the other words?
Anushilanam.
Yeah, Anushilanam. Because this is the Swarup Lakshan. Anukulyena Krishnanu Shilanam. Those words. That is the Swarup Lakshanam. Yeah.
Besides being Anu, under the guidance, Anushilanam means constantly perform. And here Gurudev like the term like a streams of honey. If other liquids, when they're poured slowly, they drip, but honey, there's a constant stream flowing. So devotional service, to be pure, will be uninterrupted, as explained in the second chapter of the first canto. Anukoyasha Sankapa, or what's that verse? Aitikiya Pratiyata. It has to be unmotivated and uninterrupted to Yayatma Suprasiddhi.
Savaipam Samparadharma.
So it's uninterrupted devotional service, Anushilanam, without a stop or break or pause. It's continuously performed.
Performed with what? That's important to mention.
Anushilanam.
This is describing that the activity is favorable for Krishna, and it is constantly be performed by what?
By the body,
four things.
by the body,
Body,
the mind, the words, and the heart sentiments.
yes, those four things. Now, of course, this is just a very brief overview, but Bhaktivinoda Thakur goes way in depth about every single word. We're going to hear it, and then we will never ever forget again what is the meaning of every word of this verse. So, Gurudev chastised me, saying, don't explain this verse from the first line, because that's telling what is not bhakti. First you have to explain what bhakti is. And it is anukul yena Krishna anushilanam. No action of any person can be called bhakti at all unless it is for the benefit of Krishna. If it's not for the benefit of Krishna, it can never be called bhakti. So the name Krishna is mentioned in the verse by Rupa Goswami. This is Krishna Bhakti, for the benefit of Krishna. And Maharaj nicely explained about how in Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's breakdown, Bhaktivinoda Thakur will also break it down, we have to understand that this is not referring to that it's pleasing to Krishna, that it makes Krishna happy. No. It doesn't make Krishna happy when Mother Yashoda put him down on the floor while she was breastfeeding, or on the bed, and went to take care of the milk, but it was boiling over. That made Krishna really angry. So, can you still call it bhakti? Yes, why? Why? Because Mother Yashoda did that for what? For Krishna's benefit. Okay? What is that? Blaga Priyatna or something? For the benefit of Krishna. So, no one can ever say, I'm doing bhakti, if it's for anyone else's benefit. Krishna has to be the beneficiary. Then it can be called bhakti. Of course, Krishna and his pure devotees, they are one unit. So if you're serving his pure devotee, it's also serving Krishna. You see? So now, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying that in the above verse, each and every word has to be analyzed. Did he not just say that? Each and every word has to be analyzed. Otherwise, we cannot understand the attributes of bhakti. So in this verse, what is the meaning of the words Uttama Bhakti? Do the words Uttama Bhakti, meaning topmost devotion, do they also imply the existence of Adhama Bhakti, inferior devotion? Or can they mean something else? Uttama Bhakti means the stage where the devotional creeper is in its completely pure or uncontaminated form, the Bhakti Lata. That's what it's referring to. That the devotional Bhakti Lata is in its completely pure or its uncontaminated form. For example, uncontaminated water, it means pure water. Meaning that in this water, there is no color, smell, or adulteration of any kind caused by the addition of another substance. So similarly, the words Uttama Bhakti refer to devotion that is devoid of any sentiments that are opposed to Bhakti. Devoid of any sentiments that are opposed to Bhakti. Just put that in your pocket and take it away. Because if we or anyone else is doing activities with their body, their mind, their words, or their sentiments, their emotions, that are opposed to bhakti, then it's not bhakti. It cannot be referred to as Uttama Bhakti. Yes. So, similarly, the words Uttama Bhakti refer to devotion that is devoid of any contamination, any adulteration, or any attachment to material possessions. And that is performed in an exclusive manner. So the usage of qualifying adjectives in this verse, it teaches us that we should not accept any sentiments that are opposed to bhakti. The negation of sentiments that are opposed to bhakti, they inevitably direct us towards what? The pure nature of bhakti itself. If we negate the sentiments that are opposed to bhakti, then inevitably that directs us toward the pure nature of bhakti itself. Perhaps by merely using the word bhakti alone, this meaning is indicated, since the word bhakti already contains within it all these adjectives anyway. Then, has Srila Rupa Goswami, the Acharya of the profound science of devotional mellows, Bhakti Rasa, has he employed the qualifying adjective uttam for no reason? Because the word bhakti has all these adjectives in it. So has the greatest Acharya on the science of Shuddha Bhakti, of Bhakti Rasa, Srila Rupa Goswami, when he puts the word uttama next to it, he has employed this qualifying adjective, uttama, which means topmost. Has he done that for no reason? For no reason? No. Just as, when desiring to drink water, people generally ask, is this water uncontaminated? And then similarly, in order to describe the attributes of Uttama Bhakti, our preceptors considered it necessary to indicate that people mostly practice Mishra Bhakti, mixed devotion. So in reality, Srila Rupa Goswami is aiming to describe the attributes of Kevala Bhakti, exclusive devotion. Chala Bhakti, which means pretentious devotion. Pratibimba Bhakti, which means a reflection of devotion. Chaya Bhakti, a shadow of devotion. Karma Mishra Bhakti, devotional mixed with fruitive action. Jnana Mishra Bhakti, devotion mixed with impersonal knowledge, and so on. They are not Shuddha Bhakti. They will all be examined in sequence later on. I'm quoting a certain person. I heard your guru says there's no pure bhakti in ISK, whatever. That's what he's talking about. This is what he's talking about. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is telling, don't worry, later on we're going to examine in sequence all of these things that are not Shuddha Bhakti. Now he asks the question, what are the intrinsic attributes or the Swarup Lakshan of Bhakti? That's what Gurudev was chastising me about. That I wasn't starting to explain the verse with the Swarup Lakshan, which means the intrinsic attributes of Bhakti. What is the words in the shloka that tell the intrinsic attributes of Bhakti? The Swarup Lakshan of Bhakti? Anukulyena Krishnanu Shilanam. Everyone say Anukulyena Krishnanu Shilanam. Again, Anukulyena Krishnanu Shilanam. That is the Swarup Lakshan of Bhakti. Never forget that. So to answer this question, what are the intrinsic attributes of Bhakti, Swarup Lakshan? It is said that Bhakti is Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam. and that the cultivation of activities that are meant exclusively for the pleasure of Sri Krishna, he uses the word pleasure here, but there's more. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is leading us in the right direction. So in his Durgama Sangamani commentary on Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, whose commentary? Srila Jiva Goswami. He has explained that the word Anushilanam has two meanings. First, it means cultivation through the endeavors to engage and to disengage also one's body, mind, and words. And then secondly, Jiva Goswami says, it means cultivation towards the object of our affection, of our priti, through what? Manasi bhav, the sentiments of the heart and the mind. So although Anushilana is of two types, the cultivation through Manasi Bhav is included within the cultivation by Cheshta. That means one's activities. So hence, one's activities or one's endeavors, Cheshta, and one's internal sentiments, Bhavs, they are mutually interdependent. And in the end, it is the Cheshta. What is the Cheshta again? Your activities. So, hence one's activities or endeavors are cheshta, and one's internal sentiments, bhav, are mutually interdependent. And in the end, it is the cheshta that is concluded to be the sole characteristic of cultivation. Only when the activities of one's body, mind, and words are favorably executed for the pleasure of Krishna, it is called bhakti. So the demons, Kamsa and Shishupal, were always endeavoring towards Krishna. They're always endeavoring towards Krishna with their body, their mind, their words, but their endeavors will not be accepted as bhakti because such endeavors were unfavorable to Krishna's pleasure. So unfavorable endeavors, they cannot be called bhakti. The word bhakti, this word bhakti, it is derived from the root verb form called bhaj, B-H-A-J, bhaj. That's where bhakti comes from. It is said in the Garuda Purana, the Purva Kanda, the following verse, Bhaj ityesha vaidhatu sevayam parikirtita tasmat seva buddhai prokta bhakti sadhana bhuyasi. Translation: the verbal root bhaj means to render service. So therefore, thoughtful sadhaks should engage in the service of Sri Krishna with great endeavor, for it is only by such service that bhakti is born. So according to this verse, loving devotional service to Krishna is called bhakti, and such service is the intrinsic attribute of bhakti. So we're going to complete today's class there, and there's a lot more coming in this first essay of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, but he's gotten off to a very solid start, not spending any time, only going to the root of everything. So any questions or comments thus far on what we've heard from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and from our Gurudev today in this class? Okay, so today is Tuesday, 30th of April. Where's my phone? And our next class is on Thursday. Actually, on this Thursday, it will be Srila Bhakti Balabhatirtha Maharaj's disappearance day. So his appearance day and his disappearance day are just like a week or so apart. So that will be on the 2nd of May. That will be Thursday. That will be our next class. The day after that is Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur's disappearance day. That will be Friday. And then on Saturday is Varotini Ekadashi. So that's on Saturday. And then breaking the fast on Sunday. Then the following week, on Tuesday, there's nothing on the calendar, but on Wednesday, there is the appearance day of Srila Gadadhar Pandit. So I'm thinking that for that, we will switch the days. Instead of Tuesday, we'll have it on Wednesday. It's also Amavasya Day. Amavasya. And so then the next day, which is Thursday, Bhakti Alok Paramahansa, we can go back, or we can do a Friday class instead of a Thursday class, give a day in between, and then we can do the Sunday class. So Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. But Saturday is Chandan Yatra. Oh, yeah. Okay, Saturday is Chandan Yatra of Lord Jagannath. It's the first day of Satya Yuga. This is the opening of the doors in where? Sri Brajinarayan Temple in the Himalayan mountains, or Vyasadeva is there. And then it is also the day in which the Gaudiya Vedanta Samiti was registered on that day. Why? Because it's Akshaya Tritiya day. It's Akshaya Tritiya day. That is the 7th, it is the 11th of May on that day. Chandan Yatra and so forth. But I'm reading from what you sent out. And then Akshaya Tritiya, it has a little calendar thing next to it. And it says July 17th. Was that a mistake? Next to the Akshaya Tritiya has July 17th, like a calendar thing.
That's just an emoji.
That's what?
It's just an emoji.
Emoji, okay. So Akshaya Tritiya is on the 11th, on Saturday. So we should definitely have Katha on that day, which will mean that Wednesday, Friday, or Saturday, on the 10th, Friday, Bhakti Vichar Jajavar Maharaj, and then on the 11th, Chandan Yatra with the Akshaya Tritiya. So,
I still need to go through adding all the colors. Adding all the associates and
right, you were mentioning that. Okay. So, all right, so we'll announce, but at least for now, we had this Tuesday, and then on Thursday we'll have class, the 2nd of May, and then Ekadasi is on Saturday. So Tuesday, Thursday, so I don't know, should we switch the class to Saturday or not? Or just keep it on Sunday? Yeah, we can just keep it on Sunday. Okay. Gaura Premanandi Jai Shri Bhakti-tattva-viveka ki Jai Jai Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki Jai Saptam Gosai Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki Jai. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Jaya Nitai Jaya Gaur Jaya Nitai Jaya Gaur Jaya Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Jai Shri Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol Vrindai Tulsi Debai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Nama Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. All glory to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.